Because I remember when you started, you said you were hovering around the kind of 40 to 60K a month region. And didn't we, in one of the months, collect 60K in 1 week?
Yeah, it ended up being 70K in 1 week. First 100K month in the business. The close and paid buy was the best fucking investment we've made in our business. If you're an offer owner, you need to get the fuck in here. If you got your lead flow right, like this could be a fucking 100x ROI.
What's up, everyone? I've got my top student here, one of top students here, Mr. Daavi. Daavi, say hello to everyone.
What up? What up? How we doing? Close and paid, huge fan.
Let's get into it, bro. Tell everyone the awful situation you were in before you joined Close and Paid.
Yeah, I mean, our sales calls, I kind of had a script, but for the most part was just showing up and asking the questions that I thought would hit. And as a result of that, sales calls were really long. All of them at least an hour 15, if not an hour and a half. I think the prospect didn't feel like they were a part of a really synchronized sales process. And then a lot of it was very diagnostic and on the fly. And so in our business, we have my mom, who's the head coach, and then we have 7 employees that work under her as other coaches. And in my head, I'm kind of thinking on the call, like, okay, how much money does this prospect have? Like, what, if, do they have prior experience with my mom? And then I'm pitching based on that. So we didn't have a way for the prospects to interact with a scale of options, which meant that I was just going in blind. And sometimes I'd hit right and we'd get the most money out of the call. Sometimes maybe I'd pitch a less expensive option. They actually wanted the more expensive option. And then sometimes there were people that couldn't afford either of our services. And we didn't really have I don't want to say low ticket, but a more affordable entry point to coaching. So, I think I had a lot of natural sales talent and a lot of empathy and speaking with people that worked well for me, but we did not have a process. And there were a lot of things that that meant we were leaving money on the table.
Yeah, I think that was a key one with you, brother, because for everyone listening, Daavi actually is the offer owner, so to speak. Even though your mum's the head person, you actually control everything to do the sales. So one really cool aspect with working with Daavi is we were able to not just look at kind of the script, which was important, but we were able to change so many things, the whole process, which made you got incredible results from doing so. But you weren't in a bad position before, were you? I mean, what kind of monthly rev were you guys doing before?
I would say 60.
So pretty actually decent.
Yeah.
For people listening. And what were some of the major things that you feel we implemented that brought you about some of the results we've got now? And we can talk about those in a minute.
I think the 2 key things that really revolutionized our sales process, and to be candid, I'll go off the question you asked a little bit. The close and paid buy was the best fucking investment we've made in our business. This made our sales process so seamless, made things, I go into calls and I know I can take things where I need them to go. My calls are all under an hour, which that'll tie into the script that we worked in. And then I think the biggest ROI was implementing a tier system, having a silver, gold, and platinum instead of me just throwing an offer at them. And so I'll talk about those 2 big changes. And the other thing is just Rich really fucking knows sales. So there were a lot of things where I came in and I was like, all right, I want to do this fast action discount, or I want to do this. And just talking through things, whatever we implemented would work. And I think that's it's as an offer owner, you really can't just go through life without having someone reviewing your calls that knows what the fuck they're talking about. And so just the call reviews alone, massive ROI there. But in terms of those 2 big changes, having a script and having a process, the prospects feel more calm on my calls because they know, they can just feel psychologically that I know what question to ask next. And in the past, there would be times where I would literally be deer in the headlights on a sales call. I wouldn't know where exactly I was going with it. And I'd get here and then I'd get there. And then so I could always dig up enough pain that I would get it done. It would just be a little unsynchronized and would take too long. And so now my calls are shorter and the prospects appreciate that. And then the big thing is like I talked about just pitching blind in the past. Now we have that. Basically, I have literally a sales asset that I show them at the end of the call that makes things crystal clear for them. And so they have this window where they can see the different options that they're choosing from. And they pick what's best for them. And there's a lot of trust that comes with that because it feels less like, oh, this guy's just pulling it out of his ass. And a lot more like, okay, this is a really established business. They have their shit together. Everything is intentional. And this is, what I have to choose from. And before Rich, first of all, our prices were lower. But second of all, we only had basically a full one-on-one coaching offer. And then there are some people that just couldn't afford it. And Rich gave us the feedback of doing, and Closed and Paid gave us the feedback of having a lower ticket, mostly on the group coaching side of things, with just a little bit of that one-on-one. And we iterated on it together, but that since has captured 3-4 buyers that previously would have fallen through the cracks, that couldn't afford our main 8, 9, 10K, 12K programs. And so that alone is an extra 20 grand in revenue that we wouldn't have seen, and gives me a lot of trust on a sales call that I can help the person no matter how much money they're coming from.
Bro, I think it's so key, and it's kind of crazy to me, bro, that people don't necessarily think of it. Offer owners will think of a price and they'll say, hey, this is what everyone's going to, purchase. You'll obviously get people who can't afford. And, that's the name of the game sometimes. But at the same time, people are leaving huge amounts of money on the table because they're not offering something to these people who genuinely want to work with you. Then again, I know we implemented something that was a higher price as well, right? Where if people were really bought in and they really wanted to work with you, Mum, they could pay like a huge amount to do this. So there's a big scale. It's not just helping the people with less money buy into you,
That's right. And I think as we keep going and get our lead gen right, that price is only going to go up on that high end.
Exactly. Didn't you, and I don't want to come up with numbers here, because I remember when you started, you said you were hovering around the kind of 40 to 60K a month region. And didn't we, in one of the months, collect 60K in 1 week?
Yeah, it ended up being 70K in 1 week because like half close came in, and then that was 100K month. So first 100K month in the business. I mean, it was an insane week because we ran the promo cycle to our email list. The list was warm. I had everything that we worked on. We closed people from this all the way from silver to gold to platinum. It was like almost a third. And that week we fucking made it rain.
Oh, that's amazing. I think one thing I want to say about Daavi is one thing he does is, well, two things. He's quite, I wouldn't say strongly opinionated. He has his opinions and he comes to calls with his questions and he thinks about things, and we talk those things through, and we don't battle. We talk them through, and then we come to a conclusion. Then he goes and implements, right? It's not good enough to just listen and implement. You should have an opinion, understand things, and then implement and understand the reason why. So that's another reason why Daavi's got incredible results from doing what he's doing. If you were to say anything to people about to join Closed and Paid, Daavi, what would you say?
I would just say that Rich and Ryan really know sales, and it's from a good place. Like, I think there's a lot of very scammy, tactic-y sales training out there. And like all the materials that I've consumed in Closed and Paid, and then all of our coaching one-on-one has been very like authoritative, respectful, coming from a place of like, we have the solution to your problem. Let's not waste anyone's time. Quote unquote tactics or like, it's just from the frame of like, how can we make this process the most seamless for both people on the call? Nothing that I've done feels disingenuous. I mean, even the whole yes or no, which is the core of Closed and Paid, it's just honesty. It's like, look, this is what I'm looking for. Or like, if you want me to make this custom thing, you put down a deposit. It's just basic self-respect at that point. And I think, what Rich was saying about me implementing stuff that I thought made sense, like, I'm not just going to blindly follow. I need to talk things through. And like the underpinning of everything that we taught is just rational. So I think people that are on the fence, if you want to learn sales, like if I was just a closer, this would have ROI'd. If you're an offer owner, you need to get the fuck in here, because I guarantee there's some kind of lapse in your sales process. There's some way that you could be picking up more money. And Rich helped even from our new funnel that we're building. And this was outside the scope of Level Up, helped with the membership questions. We introduced basically like they could put their phone number down because we weren't getting through to people on Facebook, and all kinds of little leaks in the bucket like that. Like, you need someone to come in who knows sales really well that can adapt to your process. And it looks different for doctors than it might look for young kids that need biz ops, that might look for plumbers that need more leads. But, they'll go through from where the lead comes in to where the lead goes out, and they'll find you some more money. So I think, especially as an offer owner, very good buy.
Find you some money. That's for sure. One thing you've mentioned, Bo, that I just want to point out, which is very key, is if people consume my content, I think they'll come across the whole yes or no thing. And I think people have a certain way of feeling about it, especially before they join us. And for everyone, David, do you want to just explain actually what you sell in a bit more detail so people can understand what those type of prospects are and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So the problem we solve is basically there are physicians out there, especially in the United States and Canada, most of our clients are in North America, who thought that when they'd finally finished the decade and a half of training they have to go through, they'd be happy. And they're not. They work all day. They're very perfectionistic. They're stressed. They have to see more patients in less time. They're constantly asked more and more and more by their employers. Their patients are asking all these questions. They don't have time. They come home and they're not present with their loved ones. And it's a life coaching offer specifically for physicians. So my mom was in that exact spot, and I saw it as a kid. I saw a really stressed, burned out mom that wasn't present. She went through coaching, and then she's coached 500 physicians one-on-one through that transformation. So a lot of social proof, and a lot of doctors that would kiss the ground that she walks on because she's basically saved their life. And so that's our whole business. We're basically doctors for doctors. We're coaches for doctors. And it's a high ticket coaching program. So it's got one-on-one coaching, group coaching, coursework for them to go through, email support. They get a written document that summarizes everything. There's CME credit for it. So we built this program to solve that problem.
Yeah, it's a really cool offer, really unique. It's well thought out. Obviously, your mum's a G at what she does and is well respected. It's cool highlighting that though, because if you take that demographic of people, authoritative, respected people probably don't take shit from people. You got to tread lightly, I guess, in some ways. And then you take the yes or no. You would really think, hey, I can't be telling this doctor I'm looking for a yes or a no. You got to be kind of careful there. But, Daavi, respect to you for the way you implemented it. And I know we kind of changed things in a little way, but the way you were able to implement the yes or no at the start sounded so seamless that, these doctors were going, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
I think I still got some work to do on it. So we'll talk on it on the next call, but it's definitely come a long way. And I think when you plant that seed at the beginning of the call, and the other thing that we didn't talk about, Rich, is that it used to say free consultation on our website. And then we'd get these people to come on the calls and they wouldn't make a decision. And that's closed and paid 101. That was low hanging fruit. Apply for coaching. This is a decision-making call. You get emailed before the call and the document says, talk with whoever you need to talk to about making a decision. Like little stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about in terms of like Rich and Ryan will look through every little thing and find where there's a miscommunication or a misalignment. And our lead flow is not incredible at this point. So like, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a couple bad leads float through, but especially as we continue to scale, like the expectation for that time needs to be, you're here to make a decision.
Yeah, that is so key, bro. I'm glad you brought it up because a lot of people listening will be in the same boat. It was one of the first things that we pointed out when we looked at the whole funnel was it's all well and good saying, hey, free consult, free strategy sessions. The kind of issue is people jump on them with the wrong mindset. They don't expect to make a decision, and we changed it to apply. And I don't think when you do that, it's ever going to make this huge difference. But when we start to apply that kind of change, and then other small changes throughout the whole funnel, then including the actual sales call, you get this harmonious kind of process, which you've implemented really well. And do you know what? You've mentioned it 2 times, but you said at the start your sales calls were over an hour. They were an hour and a half. I remember when you were sending me right at the start, and I was like, bro, please help me.
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah.
And I think even you were a bit frictionless in a way of saying, hey, like, I don't think we can really do much here in terms of changing them because this is how they go. And, we keep talking. And I think now they're all definitely under 1 hour. And I think some even really short and just to the point, which is super cool to see because it means we can speak to more people potentially as the lead flow increases. But yeah, brother, appreciate the kind words.
I'm a huge fan. You guys watching this, feel free to shoot me a message if you have questions about it. Again, like if you're a sales guy and you want to get better at sales, this is the place to go. If you're an offer owner, and you're above 20K a month, I don't know what you're doing not in this program. Like you need it. You could, and especially for other people with better lead flow than us, like this was off of like at most like 5-8 calls a week, get into 100K a month. Like you guys, if you got your lead flow right, like this could be a fucking 100x ROI. Stop buying shit coins. We don't need Solana. We need level up and close and paid. All right.
We should make a level up coin, brother.
Yeah. Couple beards on there.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate that, my guy.
All right, brother. Peace.